What's up, guys? Today we're going to go over how to make an automatic honey farm. So the basic premise of how this works is that you have your dispenser going into a beehive. The dispenser, when they have empty glass bottles and an empty space used on a beehive that has honey in it, it will automatically grab the honey and put it into the dispenser without angering the bees. And then we have an auto sorter in the back here that only takes the honey bottles out of the dispenser, puts them into the chest, and then we have another mechanism in the back that is able to read when the beehive has honey in it and activates the dispenser. So with that, let's jump right in. Alright, so for the materials that you need, you'll need one beehive, 2 hoppers, 1 chest, a dispenser, 2 comparators, 1 repeater, 1 torch, 9 redstone dust, and 5 honey bottles. And that is for each one of these. So that's for like this part right here. So if I wanted to build this exact thing, I would need 3 times the amount of materials on this top line right here. And then I have just the decorative blocks, glass, oak planks, and fences, as you can see in this box I made. You'll also need glass bottles for the honey to go into. And then bone meal if you don't have flowers, because the bees will need flowers in order to make honey at all. Alright, so to start, you'll want to place the chest that the honey is going to go into. Then you'll want to place a hopper facing into the chest on the back. And then place a hopper on top of this one that does not face down. So I usually face it this way. But yeah, this hopper cannot face downwards or else it won't work. Then on top of that hopper, we place a dispenser, which you can do this by holding shift, if you're on PC at least. And then we place a beehive that is facing into that dispenser. And do the dispenser and the beehive to the side so that we have space in the back for the redstone. Alright, so next we'll make the effective auto sorter so that this hopper only pulls down the honey bottles and not the empty bottles. So what you'll do is you'll place opaque blocks like this pattern, where you can grab this signal with a comparator because you need an opaque block in between the comparator and the container. So place a comparator facing away from the hopper here. Place another block, do redstone, redstone, and then underground. We'll have to go underground, not that one. We will place a repeater facing this way, and the repeater will grab this redstone signal right here. And then we place a torch on the back of this block that the repeater is facing into. So this should effectively disable it, so we can then do the auto sorter part. And you'll want to just do 5 honey bottles like this. Make sure that each slot has 1. So then if we put glass bottles in here and honey bottles in here, we can see that this is sorting the honey bottles and they're going into the chest, but they're not taking the empty glass bottles. Alright, so the next step is to make it where the beehive will tell the dispenser when it needs to be harvested. So the way the beehive works with the honey is that there are different levels of, when the honey will be there. So when the bees go in with pollen, they will increase the level by 1. And when the level equals 5, that means that it'll have the honey things in these 2 areas and it'll be ready to be harvested. We can read that with a comparator. So we'll use the comparator the same way we did here. So opaque block in between that and a comparator facing away from the beehive. And then I bring the signal up like this, because the comparator will power this block, which will then give the signal strength here. And then we want to go 5 blocks away. So we'll bring this out by 1. We'll also bring this around. And then I go right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is because at each level, the signal strength will grow by 1. And then we strengthen it at 5, and this will turn on only when the beehive is full of honey. And then we put it here so that it activates the dispenser. So essentially when this is full, it will go around, it'll activate the dispenser, which then grabs the honey. It'll put the honey bottle in here, and then it will go down into the chest. Importantly, when you're putting the glass bottles in the dispenser, you need to leave at least 1 space open. Because otherwise it won't have anywhere to put the honey bottle into it and it will just eject it completely. So make sure that you have 1 empty slot. Alright, so at this point, this will automatically grab honey. But first what you need to do before you actually turn it on is you need to bee-proof your your area, because the bees will wander too far away from the hive and will essentially just never come back. So that's why I had that box around it in my demonstration. So what I do is I go behind the hoppers and I just start, building blocks. I like to use fence posts. And I'm only going to do it with the 1 rather than all of them that I had the last time. So we'll just build it around like this. And let's just do it here. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be that tall, but you just have to make sure that the bees don't have a way to get out. That gets a little annoying here because the redstone's kind of blocking the build path. So what I do here is I then just place opaque blocks above it like this. Like that. And then there's no holes on this side, and actually these don't need to be here, but I just like them there. Not that. Yeah, so then I just do the same thing with the walls, which I'll do right now. All right, and then on the front area, I just do glass, and on the ceiling, I also do glass. You can build this box however you'd like. I just like using fence posts and stuff, but this part does not matter. It's not functional. It's just a way to make it where your bees don't stray too far. Because yeah, I've left a hole before, and they literally just, they get out and they never come back. And it happens astonishingly quick too, so I always build a box. So we do this. I like doing little things on the top here. Whoops. And then on the rest of it, I just do glass, including the ceiling and the front panel. So this is usually the box that I make. I just do glass on the ceiling and the front panel like this, and then I do fence posts on the other sides. So next what we need to do is we need to get flowers in here, because the bees need the flowers in order to actually make honey. I don't know if it can be any flower. I usually just use dandelions and poppies. I assume it can be any flower, except for maybe like wither roses or something. So then you just make sure that there's a decent amount of these in here. And I usually do like bone meal to make it have grass too, just because that makes it look a little bit more natural, so there's not just like random flowers in here. So I just kind of bone mealed a couple times. All right, so now we need to get the bees in here. In creative, this is quite easy because all I have to do is just, spawn a couple bees. In survival, I think the easiest way to do this is you wait till nighttime. Like you find a beehive, you wait till nighttime, and then you can silk touch the actual beehive. Or I guess this is a bee's nest, technically. You can silk touch it with the bees still inside without them getting angry. So you wait till nighttime so they all go inside. You silk touch it, and then you can move it, and then they'll all still be inside there. And then if you need to do any more, or get any more bees, you can breed them, I think, using seeds. I might be wrong, but actually I think it's poppies. Yeah, it's poppies. So yeah, you can breed the bees in order to get them up to the numbers that you need, but that is all you need to do. So now in order to test it, we can just wait for the bees to do their thing, and make sure that it grabs the honey when it needs to. Now, something I will say that this happens pretty slowly. The bees take a while to make enough honey in order for it to give you one honey bottle. So I would recommend making a few of these. In my hardcore world, I have 4. But that's also because I AFK a lot. If you need a lot of honey, like if you're doing any crazy like flying machines or something, I would probably make like 8 or like 16 or something like that, because it is pretty slow. But it is automatic, so it'll be constantly running as long as you're within the simulation distance. So it's like, if you're not using it that frequently and you're around it a lot, then it should be fine. But if you need it very quickly, then it will take a while. So yeah, so we just saw that. So it filled up with honey, and then it should have grabbed it. I think I had one in here already, but yeah, so there's no honey bottle in here. This used a glass bottle, and it went through, and it went down into the chest. So it works perfectly fine, and there you go. Alright guys, that'll be it for this episode. Let me know down in the comments if you have any issues, and I'll try to help you debug that. Also, let me know if you have any suggestions or you did anything really cool with it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.